Hello, Priscilla. My name is Star. And for the movies, The Reluctant Fundamentalist and The Lady, um, let's see. You mentioned in the beginning of your video how Americans are like bad with geography, which is very true, I think. I don't know if it's like just an American thing or people just in general don't like geography. I don't know, maybe it's just hard to remember. I personally am really bad, super, super bad at geography. Even till this day, I have to Google like where is this or like what is this, and a lot of times like things that I think just based on like prior experience is like a country or like an area. It's not at all. It's like either religion or it's like just a type of people. So we definitely are kind of true about that, but it made me think like how similar to your experience like with people going up to you and speaking Spanish. um a lot of people don't think about like the the fact that there's so many cultures and types of people and ethnicities and race and um a lot of the time a lot of the times that um almost hinders like well I guess what I'm saying is like in like in relation to like the reluctant fundamentalists, it like one hinders like our knowledge, like our like ability to learn more because we think we already know something, and two, it like um it's it's just like I guess the fact of like being unaware of something and not knowing that like you're wrong, is crazy until you realize like you're wrong. Like speaking Spanish to someone who speaks Portuguese, they're completely different languages. Even though they're both people are like, or I guess not really. Well, I guess like you think someone's Hispanic, but there doesn't mean that they speak Spanish. And but yeah, basically like I think that's what was happening in the Reluctant Fundamentalist. Um, they people were just assuming things based on how he looked, or like um, based on how I guess based on how he looked, they would um, judge him and create their own biases even though they didn't know him at all. Especially after an event where, it so happened that a certain type of people were the ones responsible for it, like 9/11. And, that like put a hindrance on so many people, um, like so many people's lives, and also just the ability to like open yourselves up to like a stranger. I think was definitely like that. I don't know, that like that scenario was like definitely put out of people's minds when it came to like people who looked like like Middle Eastern or anything like that, because they were just assuming bad things. um but yeah, so that reminded me of that. And then the thing you said about terrorist groups I found really interesting, because I think that it's true, like having or terrorist groups, I think typically when I think of them, I think that they usually do come from like a place of rebellion. And I don't know, to be considered like a terrorist group, you must like you have to have done something like super wrong or illegal. Um but even with that fact, I think that they still are usually built upon the premise of rebellion, or like um because they were treated like a certain way, and usually it's like an unfair way. But yeah, that like that kind of stuck out to me, I guess, when you said that, because it's not something like that I would just think about like randomly until someone like says it to me. Because terrorist groups, they're not just like people who want to kill, because if that was the case, they would just like go kill someone, right? They wouldn't like create this group and specifically like target certain people or target certain governments. That's typically like, you know, what they do. But yeah, and at the end you were mentioning how like Brazil is your home, and even though you like the West, you know, you don't think of home when you think of where you live now, and you know, in California, I'm assuming. Um, but yeah, I think basically, um, for some reason that made me think about like how as we get older, like as kids grow up and become like adults, at least this is speaking on like personal experience and like people like that are my friends that I know. Um, even as like old old teenagers, we still don't really, well, like I said, personal experience, don't really think that much about like certain culture or, you know, like I guess like who we are. But I think for me, like as I get older, because I'm 24, as I keep getting older, I think that culture and like my background and other people's background, sometimes a lot more than like my background, like other people's background, and learning about other cultures, I think becomes a lot more important and like prevalent for some reason. I'm not sure like why. I just think like it becomes more of a um like a upfront importance, like to know like in my life, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I think that was, I wanted to share that cuz I thought that was interesting, and that made me think of like what I'm saying now. I only thought of because of what you said about like, you know, your culture and like how you used to live in Brazil and stuff. But yeah, so that's all. Thank you for watching.